Okay. So our objective here today is to look over the data and find 2 areas that we can focus on for improvement. Okay, this was our recent benchmark data. I don't have the passing score yet. We're just gonna pick the last one, which was, what was it? It was 60% was approaches. Okay, so with that being said, I'll come back to this. This is our TEAC breakdown. But I am gonna give us a few minutes just to be able to look over our data and make any observations. So I kind of stole this from Heath. You're gonna look over the data. If you look at your paper, I don't expect full sentences, but you can just jot down some good things that you observe or some negative things. Some patterns and trends you notice within our data, something you're surprised to see, and something that you're happy to see. We always focus on negative things sometimes, but we can look at maybe some good things that we're doing that makes us happy. Okay, so you can look within all data sheets. If you want to focus on the learning standard breakdown, you can. If you want to look at the campus breakdown between all of the high schools, you can as well. We also printed some data in here where it kind of focuses, I think, on ethnicity and special pop groups. So maybe you can look and see how you're reaching those special kids. Okay, so I'm gonna just give us a couple of minutes to do that.
Can I see the?
You want to break down? Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a highlighter?
Yes, ma'am. I have a lot of highlighters. What color would you like?
Thank you.
Would you like highlighter, Shayla? Well, okay, go ahead. You want one, Anderson?
Are we turning in these papers? So I know how neatly to write.
Oh, no. This just so you can write your thoughts on it. No, I'm not turning it in. Okay, so I'm gonna sit. Oh, yeah, it is. That's good.
You have the pre-AP ones on?
I didn't get the pre-AP data breakdown like this one. I didn't get it.
No.
But there are some pre-AP scores in there. But they're not like learning category breakdown.
Approaches will still be passing this year?
Yeah, great, for sure.
the last one. Is, second
It's
to last, is it E 1.1 or 1.110?
10.
It's 10?
Yeah, it's 10.
Okay.
Which one?
The second to last.
Because the E
It's
was-
it's figure 19 and then is it,
That's 10.
10
10?
and then 15.
Yeah, 15 is the essay thing here, because I didn't put that one up there. Alright.
What is the one above? The second one above, figure 19.
This one. 11. This one. Sorry, cut him off. Y'all need any more time, or you wanna start sharing some? Oh, y'all still looking okay. Okay, so we can start sharing some out. One thing that I observed looking over, and I mostly looked at the data for campus and our teacher breakdown, but organizational patterns I see it, for me, are a big thing I need to work on. And even the substantiated and unsubstantiated opinions seems to be something that I'm noticing. As overall trends, I'm seeing like evidence, evaluation of evidence seems to be maybe a point that we can work on. What are you guys seeing?
Yeah, I noticed we're pretty consistent on informational texts.
Mhm.
I think, you know, like if you look holistically, and I don't think this is a bad place to be at for those at this point in the year,
Yeah.
you know? So definitely the kids will need some review on info text, but it's reassuring that, you know, they're all about the same place.
Yeah. Any surprises? Yeah. Anything you're happy to see?
I saw on the sheet,
The
that
big one.
you have mastery in yours.
I know, I see. Who is that? I look. I know. I'm like, who is that child? I will look and see who that is. I don't know. I didn't get the chance to actually look to see who that was. Well, I was happy to see that, you know, I compare us to MacArthur all the time. And pre-AP, y'all kicked their butt as far as scores with pre-AP. I thought y'all, it looks like y'all are doing better than them. And then our meet is higher than MacArthur and on level. So they have more approaches, but we have more kids who have met. So that was nice and reassuring.
Yeah, I also like seeing, you know, this It's a pretty significant chunk of sped kids
Mm-hmm.
approaching and meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in all y'all's classes.
Yeah, that makes us happy, right?
Yeah.
So it's not horrible, but we know we have some work. So the next part is us kind of using the data to talk about, once again, like our two greatest areas that we feel we should be striving for and focusing on for improvement, because we only have a little bit of time. So you can't do all of it. But I guess when we go back to revisit informational text, what are two things that maybe we can key in on and work together to make sure we have like quality lessons for those two things? Get the most bang out of your buck.
Yeah.
And then I also ask you, why do you think our kids are struggling? So if we could talk about this together, or you can write it first, it's up to you guys.
What were the informational passages on this one? Do you guys remember? Is it the hunger for books is lit non-fic? And that's paired with, oh, the little libraries?
I have one. I can look on that. I have a whole bunch of tests. Learning to read the stillness of a life. Of the library. Yeah,
Learning to read the Malcolm X one, and the stillness of the library. Okay, so Hunger for Books was on their last benchmark then?
It wasn't fun this time.
I mean, I think they should be able to navigate passages that they don't always connect with or enjoy. But sometimes I do think that the reading about reading, that don't,
Boring.
it kind of glosses them over a little bit.
Well, I guess that could be a problem, a point that we work on, like, making them understand that they're not gonna like everything. But I guess endurance and stamina
Yeah.
techniques to reading boring crap or stuff that you feel does not relate to you,
Yeah.
that could be an area. So stamina and endurance, that's that.
And
Because mostly, my kids are reading the fiction text, the books they like,
yeah,
but I'm not really making them. And then I always choose texts that I feel are high engagement anyway.
right.
So they rarely get the boring text.
Yeah, which is,
Is it a disservice or good?
I don't think so. I think if you can
You gotta
get the
put them
content, if you can get them the content and then get them to the analysis, that's where they
That's
should
where it
be.
works. Okay.
And if your kids are killing it with informational summary, do you think
Yeah,
those Kelly Gallagher articles are helping you?
I think so, just bringing in those particular articles for them to look at and, not only am I having them like answer the questions at the bottom, but I'm kind of having them, I keep stressing the real world connection thing to them. Like everything that we read, you need to find a connection to it somehow.
Yeah.
Even if it's my friend's sister, whatever, right? Cause I really didn't have them write summaries, cause I'm trying to think, like they didn't write summaries, but they would write some kind of little reflection to it. And I'm surprised, I was surprised, well, first of all, I was surprised my scores are so low, but I was also surprised that the one about, I guess, is it an informational or persuasive with tech support, like that's what I've been emphasizing, is like you can't have an opinion without support.
Yeah.
And like I drill that into them and still they only scored 35%.
Mhm.
Sometimes I think it's just the wording of the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If they really ask what they're asking in simple language.
right. And I think maybe that could be something that we could just work on pulling a question. We don't even have to pull the whole text, right? Just pull the question with the choices and say, okay, what do you think this is saying? Let's break it down. Like, what is it really asking you? Like on the writing, I tell them like, remember the writing's gonna give you this box with this information, then it's gonna say this. And the question isn't to right here.
Mhm.
Like, make sure that's what you're responding to, not to use the other things as support to this.
Right.
Yeah.
But some of them, even thinking of the ones that I read, that we graded, like, what did they look at? Like, they didn't look at the question, cause they didn't answer the question
Yeah.
in some of those, how to balance work and play,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah,
Maybe that's something where we just take question stems and
Question
we
stems.
break
I
down
like that.
the question stems for them. They don't need the whole piece, right? I just need them to understand, first of all, if I don't know what the question is,
She's walking around.
if I don't know what the word is, I have to get the dictionary
Mhm.
and find a synonym for that word,
Yes, dictionary.
right? Dictionary synonym skills kind of thing,
Mhm.
so.
Compliance,
Compliance.
right? Because
Yeah.
they just get frustrated, right? It's not that they don't know how, they just can't do it fast enough, so they don't do it at all,
Mhm.
right?
I get that.
And I think of my kids who always say, I just guessed,
Yes.
I just guessed, and I'm like,
They just give up.
oh
So
my
I
God,
need you
please
to
stop
hear.
guessing.
They just give up.
So,
Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, so sometimes it doesn't even matter what the topic is, they don't care in general.
Mhm.
So a lot of times they're just starting to answer.
So I think part of our problem with the dictionary, so I subbed at a fifth grade campus, or a fifth grade school, well, elementary, anyway. They have no dictionaries
Mhm.
in their room whatsoever.
They come from elementary with no dictionary schools, no dictionary skills, because, like I said, working in middle school, and I did sixth grade for a while,
Mhm.
is fifth grade is all science focused, cause that's when they're gonna take that science test. And because they don't have to write anymore, and the reading is really just reading,
Uh-huh.
they don't emphasize using dictionaries. So when they come in as sixth graders, and you tell them, like, use the dictionary, that's like a skill that they were only taught for 1 year
Mhm.
in fourth grade, and it's never touched on again until realistically till seventh grade, when they have to take the test again.
So if you use a word that they don't know, they do expect you to define it for them.
Yeah.
Because they don't look them up.
Yeah, they don't, so they need
Huh.
dictionary skills.
How do we teach an implicit value or intrinsic value of
Because
dictionary?
it's been given to them
Yeah,
Right.
all their
yeah,
childhood.
And if it wasn't given to them, it wasn't important.
Yeah.
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 So
That's
I
interesting.
just
I
thought
didn't
that
know
was
that.
interesting, and I wanted to share that with y'all a while
Yeah.
back,
Mhm.
but I forgot.
yeah, well, yeah, I forgot too, like I said, I taught sixth grade for 6 years, and then I did eighth grade for 8 years, so again, that gap of, seventh
Yeah.
grade, so when we were in eighth grade and we'd write, and I'd say, okay, find words that are, overused words, use the dictionary. How do I do that, I don't remember, or whatever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it's, so.
They want you to give to them and want you to lay out the steps. And then even then, they still want you. I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
like you could model all, like yesterday I modeled for my kids, and then like I give them 2 little things to do after I've already modeled it, and they're still like, what?
Yeah, they're just pretending.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm like, we gave you 4 examples, we went through this.
Yeah.
It's hard, so I like that. I was hearing you, and I feel like it kind of answers where it says what solutions and expectations we can expect this dictionary skills, or maybe like Miss Laus used to do. Remember how she expected and made her kids look up how many words?
I think her thing was like, if you looked up, she'd give you these 5 words And then if you looked up those 5 words and defined, she told you those 5 words are somewhere on the test. They might be in a test question, they might be in an answer choice, they might be in the passage. I will give you 5 more and you can use these 10 words on the test.
But that still gives them a choice, but I like it. Maybe our expectations.
Well, even from the questions, we can build a word bank
Mm-hmm.
where even if they just take the notes and there's, like my kids put in the spiral.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is what's in the test. What are some other words that it might say? That's the way I used to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I used to teach them,
I kinda
these
like
are
that.
on the test, here's how else it might, what other words they might use. So like essay, I'm asking you to write an essay, you might have to write, was it essay? What, you know,
Composition?
composition, or I might ask you to compose, or I might ask you to write using academic language.
Mm-hmm.
So now they've built a semi-file of, okay, if it says inference, it might also say, you know, what's
Draw
another word?
conclusion.
Right, draw a conclusion, or, right,
Uh-huh.
so
I like that.
drawing some kind of bank,
Mm-hmm.
making some kind of word bank that when we look at those question stems, they have to take the dictionary
Mm-hmm.
and they have to look up, you know, what are 2 other words that mean this word, you know.
Yeah.
You could even do it as like a, you know, you have, I don't know, 5 questions, 5 groups, whatever. You look up the different words, you know, keywords in the question.
Should definitely remember this for like our star prep, 'cause
Yeah.
like maybe we just kind of loop in the dictionary.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would
Doing, like,
think.
One day
No, yeah,
on
no,
the dictionary,
most
kind of loop
definitely.
it into all those
Make
2
it
weeks
part
of
of a
prep.
routine.
It has to be part of, yeah, definitely, yeah.
We should do that.
I even like the breaking down of question stem. I know that's so elementary. I remember doing that on tax tests, you know, but our teacher would actually make us do things to the question.
Yeah,
Science and math have a little breakdown taped on their desk, like how to break down the question stems. Like
Uh-huh.
they box certain things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
underline certain things.
I don't know, what do you think? You like that?
Well, I mean, those kinds of things only work if you like actually take the time to do it first
Yeah.
with them, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's like giving them a formula that they
No,
can't
yeah,
use.
you're gonna have to do it like
I don't know.
well, I definitely think in the prep,
that.
Yeah.
that's where we're gonna,
But if we wanted to put them on a desk like that or something, you know, we can see what they're already doing in their other star tested levels, right?
Mhm.
And then, cause I know we talked about doing like a revising passage Monday,
Mhm.
Tuesday, and editing passage Wednesday, Thursday, and it would just be part of that.
Routine.
But maybe it's not as helpful with the writing section questions, maybe it's more helpful with the reading section questions,
Yeah.
probably. I don't know, well, I can see, I'll see us doing that in math.
Wow, okay. Sorry.
But as far as like most bang for our buck, things that we can do now, like before the star prep,
Mm-hmm.
what are y'all thinking?
I like how you make your kids do the reflection, trying to make sure that they maybe, as you said, connect to it or whatever you make them do. What again?
I make them do like some kind of reflection and some kind of real world connection to it.
Yeah. I like
You know.
that because then maybe it'll pique their interest to read it a little bit more. But I do feel like that's what's missing. If they don't like it, they don't feel like they connect, then
Yeah,
they don't read it as closely as they should, or
Right.
they gloss over it, do questions and then find the answer.
yeah, maybe that's the difference, right, between the passive and the active
Mm-hmm.
reader,
Oh, yeah.
right? And we're looking for that switch from passive to active test taker.
Yeah, I like that. And then, of course, figure 19B is always a problem.
Yeah, read more, kids,
Read more,
in your life.
Yeah,
and even though more discussion based though, because I was in you guys' classroom, and they made some great inferences discussing, and they played off of each other. And maybe that's what I'm missing in my class, because we read, we make inferences, they don't really get to discuss and make those connections to what they already know and make inferences, because they were making like amazing inferences and nobody prompted them to do that.
you have this up for pre-AP on your computer by chance? Because I wonder what that
What's
input
that?
percentage
We
is
can
for
find
pre-AP.
that. Yeah, because I know they do a lot more discussion, maybe we can look and see if that is something we need to try to incorporate in our regulars, cause I'm not gonna lie, I get scared when my regulars discuss.
Well, we
Not
can script
discussing,
it.
but yeah.
And you can do, you know, like pockets, like here's
Yeah.
4 minutes to discuss with 4, and then, you know, we can,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a whole class period, a
Yeah.
whole class, that's overwhelming, you gotta work up to
It is.
that.
Well, I hope,
And the pre-Bs didn't take the same test though,
oh yeah,
so that,
No, but in theory, it's the same skill, right?
that's, and actually, we did see, in the first benchmark, we saw the pre-AP figure 19B parallel the on-level figure 19B. That's right, I forgot about that. Are you pulling it up?
I can find that data,
You pulling it up?
Yeah.
because that'd be nice to know.
Which one is this? Figure 19B, is that what we're looking at?
Mm-hmm. Cause they were making some inferences. But as she's looking it up, I got, you know, we said, looking at breaking down questions, maybe some dictionary skills, making the kids reflect real world experiences, and how we can communicate these expectations, maybe establishing some routines, modeling more,
Well, if you give them
discussing
stems for talking
Yeah.
points,
Mhm.
right, for the discussions, that'll
Yeah.
help them in the regulars,
Yeah.
right?
more. Mhm. Did you find it?
Yeah, so for the full campus, like all of our pre-AP kids, it's at 52.42%.
52.42?
Which is almost a full 10 above
Dang.
regular. And
So that's a
breakdown by teacher. Man, I wish that it would let me like click and see.
I know, we had to cut and paste this and help me.
Oh, what are you looking for?
Oh, she found it, but this, all that extra information we had to delete.
So half
second.
She wants it.
She wants a pre-AP, you got a pre-AP?
The one that we deleted from like the district or the school?
I think she.
I think I emailed it to you.
Oh, okay, then I can send that out to y'all.
Yeah, that piece is yours.
Okay.
I just didn't know what toppings you wanted on it.
All of them.
Like the schools of the,
No, she wanted the teacher breakdown.
oh, I didn't delete that.
Don't tell me I'm depressed or.
Yeah, I was too tired and she was just.
So I'm kind of questioning that because, I mean, I don't know how much discussion Evelyn does, but her pre-AP kids had the highest figure in 19B.
Nice.
Yes, Evelyn, you teach us, me, that kids take.
Kids think about things.
Oh, yeah, they,
But did y'all,
They're good.
were y'all close to her at least?
No. She had
Yeah.
57% and the rest of us are anywhere from 48 to 52. So it's a significant.
What you doing, girl?
That's huge. Just make them think about things.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, I have to go back and look, I honestly have to go back and look at the lesson and maybe how I worded the question or,
Just use your hand.
I mean, yeah.
It varies.
I think for my pre-AP, what I get, when I'm looking at them, they're very inquisitive kids. And they very much will go that extra, like they sit there and they wanna absorb everything I have to tell them. And somehow that like starts bells going off for them, and then they start making connection to it. You know, whereas my regulars sit there like they're all asleep,
Yeah.
basically, right?
Yeah.
They're not, I don't have too many jump at the chance to make that connection, or I don't get it.
But hopefully this helped you. Did it help you?
We all did really well with 10A in pre-AP.
10A, that
That one
is,
was the
let me go back.
Like we
analyze,
all have above 80% on that.
Relevance, quality, and credibility of evidence given to support or oppose an argument.
oh,
It's
so
our
bad then.
highest area.
That actually
Well,
makes me feel good because I know I did a lot of that.
Well, no, yeah, that makes me, that's why I say that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
But if you look at the campuses,
Because
y'all,
that's everything that, every time they write an essay, anything they do, they need to support it with some kind of argument for it, this is what I,
that was our highest for pre-AP. Followed by 13C, revising, doesn't surprise me.
yeah.
11, the analyzing clarity of objectives,
Mhm.
and 9A, summarize
See, and here's the thing is,
Overall, our lowest is 18B. Is that,
I didn't look that up.
it's not like a essay?
18,
18
Really
that's really far in the teaks. I wonder, 18B.
This is good.
So good, thank you.
Why didn't put anything on it?
I like it like that.
What?
I would just eat it like that.
That's just too dry.
Good.
You're crazy. Okay, I'm done. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thank you for,
I tried.
yeah.
I just want information from me. I hate informational text. And I feel like
Oral
it
and-
reflects.
Oral and written conventions. B is use correct punctuation marks,
Oh.
including quotation marks to indicate sarcasm or irony, comma placement in non-restrictive phrases, dashes to emphasize parenthetical information.
Well, it's really low, but that's also like a really niche area, so.
Yeah, I'm like,
That's a
I-
concern.
Yeah.
Well, then outside of that one, our actual lowest one then is 8A,
Oh, that is.
like overall.
Students are expected to explain a controlling idea and specific purpose of expository text
Yeah, that's
and
what I'm,
distinguish between details.
I'm thinking the bang for your buck on that one is just expository text and looking at, like the purpose of the paragraphs, right?
Yeah.
Like the macro compared to the micro purposes, cause that's, I think I know the question. And it's like really confusing, cause it asks about what is the purpose of this paragraph? And the kids end up answering the purpose of the overall
Oh.
piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that trips them up the last 4 years on this test.
I'm wondering if it might be possible, maybe like the week before spring break or 2 weeks before, if we could give our pre-AP students, well, I mean, I guess we'll have the same. I'm just wondering like what these things would have looked like if they had taken the same benchmark.
Oh.
I really dislike that they're different. I think it makes us like
I feel blind
not
a
as
little
valuable.
bit. I feel
Then
blind a
maybe
little
you
bit.
guys should give them the test, just to see how they do on this.
I mean, we could use it as their lit. What did we decide? There's a crossover in here?
Aren't we using basically a whole,
I think that's why we usually
Test?
lit nonfiction one that way.
Yeah.
But for sure, you know, we could hack up we could hack them up and like do them as prep pieces, you know, and then compare the data. That's something to think about. I really have to use the bathroom
Okay.
before class.
Thank you guys, I'm sorry it took so long.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to look at. Thanks for putting this together, Brittany.
You tried.
You did good.
Thank you.
Also, guys, this is my remote that I'm obsessed with.
Oh,
Come check it
what?
out. For my board.
Oh.
So it's rechargeable, and I just charge it on my computer, and I got it for like $11 if you wanna take a picture.
or just?
Oh no, it's the clicker, right?
clicker.
So the USB sits right in here, right? And then you just plug it in like you do your wireless mouse.
Yes.
amazing. I need to know that.
And I like this one because it does this, it advances and it has the mouse. If you want to turn the mouse on and off to start videos, you can.
I
Yeah.
just used a mouse last year. A wireless mouse.
Oh, to do your projector? That's smart. Yeah, that's smart. I never thought of that.
Oh, where are the investors
just got
considering
it.
they
But
might
I like-
get rid of the smart boards?
I just got a
Never
mouse.
really.
Y'all,